everybody, Norma here. Just getting ready to start our Tuesday afternoon flow class. Welcome to this opportunity to have a yoga practice. I hope everybody's well out there. I am back in the wellness office. So we have about 4 minutes to start. So for those of you who are new to yoga, know that this is an opportunity to move and breathe on your mats. We're going to be giving some suggestions to work to your level. So a reminder that I can't see you out there. I welcome you to practice at your own level. We'll be giving options, as I said. So if you ever have an opportunity that one of the poses that I'm offering isn't something that feels right in your body, big permission to go back into a downward facing dog or a child's pose or Shavasana at any time. I'm wearing a t-shirt today or a sweatshirt today that says I'm just here for the Shavasana, and it's actually my favorite sweatshirt. So sometimes that's all we need, right, is to unroll our mats and to get into a comfortable position and just feel that comfort of our mat supporting us and just breathe. So I often say that, you know, this 45 minutes is your time, it's your practice. All I'm saying is an offering here. So if you want to come and join the class and lay on your mat the whole time, then that is okay with me. And maybe you can replay the class at a later time if that suits you better to flow a little bit. So we've got about 3 minutes to start. Couple of reminders that you need to have a supported surface. So if you have a yoga mat or other mat at home, that's great. We won't be using any other props, but often I do coach with a block. So if you have a yoga block, that's great. You can use it through the practice for an extension of your arms. If your hamstrings are tight, sometimes reaching to the ground is hard when we get first warmed up. Also, it's a nice way to prop up your hips for some of the other poses when we're going down to the ground. So get yourself comfortable in whatever position you want to start your yoga class. And today we're just a few minutes to start. It is going to be a slower flow practice today. My theme is inspiration. So as you're getting comfortable and arriving, you know, maybe just arriving on your mat, taking a few deep breaths, and we'll get started in a few moments. Welcome. Good afternoon for anybody that's just joined us. My name is Norma. I'm going to guide you through your Tuesday afternoon yoga practice. So come on and get settled. It is 3:30, so we're going to get started. I'm going to start in the seated position today to welcome you to class and to see any messages that might pop up just at the beginning. Know that any position that you choose to start class in is your choice, so you can sit here seated. I'm sitting up on a block. Sometimes if your hamstrings are tight and your knees are above your hip level, it's nice to sit up on a block when you're in a seated position. It just lets your pelvis tilt forward and that your knees get lower than your hips. You can start your practice with your hands on your knees, palms down if you're feeling like you'd like some grounding today, or you can flip your palms up if you feel like you want to receive some more energy. Also nice if you feel that you want to go down into a resting posture, into Shavasana. You can absolutely start your practice there. Or third choice, you can start in child's pose, stretching your hands long in your mat, forehead, third eye resting on your mat, and gently lowering your hips down between your legs. So whatever position serves you, let's get started. Just check on messages. You begin to arrive. Welcome. Hi. Okay. So as we begin in whatever posture is calling to you today, taking this first few minutes to arrive, bringing your attention to your breath as you settle. And know that if you've settled in a position that's just not serving you now, it's okay to fidget, so you just get that right. So this is the experience that you want on this Tuesday afternoon. So taking a moment to soften your gaze or close your eyes. Taking your attention into your breath. Offering yourself a clean slate here, knowing that anything that you may have brought into the room with you, into your space, that you can leave that here at the door, virtual door, and know that that's available to you if you choose to pick it up after class. So taking slow breaths in through your nose, and out through your nose. Perhaps inhaling together and sighing with an audible letting anything go. So bringing your attention into your breath as you allow your shoulders to fall away from your ears. Let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Perhaps unclench the biting surfaces of your teeth. And arrive. Know that this time is carved out just for you, and you will have the experience that you were meant to have today. We will move and breathe, have moments of rest. And I'm going to ask you to think about one question today as we flow. What inspires you? So we talked a lot last week through Mental Health Week about taking care of ourselves and being real. And so as we think about how we're living in this new normal, perhaps there's things that you've seen through this time or experienced this time that has inspired you to maybe change something you do or change the way you approach something. And it doesn't have to be, this monumental shift. Sometimes it's just those little increments that we say, oh, yeah, I find that inspiring, or it warmed your heart. So just an invitation to think about that as we flow through our practice. And maybe thinking about how something you may be doing or saying or treating somebody may be an inspiration for others. Just taking this last few moments before we start warming up our body to just scan your body. How are you feeling on this Tuesday afternoon at 3:30? What does my body need here? And perhaps that pose that you chose to start in is just exactly what your body was craving for. And feel that support from your mat, from this community that we've cultivated this afternoon, and through this time that you've carved out for yourself. So with that, I'm going to transition onto my back to join you as we begin to warm up our body. Let's wiggle out our fingers and our toes. Perhaps stretch your hands up and overhead, pointing out your toes like you're waking up from a long nap. Before you curl your knees into your chest, like you've just seen yourself or your best friend or a family member that you haven't seen. Maybe that's dreaming of those hugs that we're going to give everybody when we're allowed to hug again. So curling up, giving a big hug, and thanking yourself for showing up for your practice. Letting your head and shoulders come down to the mat. Letting your feet come up to straight position, just making sure we're not locking out our knees. And just taking a few gentle popping motions to our feet, warming our feet up before bending our knees generously and reaching between the window of our legs. So starting in Happy Baby, where we're going to end our practice today, reaching what's accessible to you. So that may be your lower legs or your ankles, perhaps the inside of your foot or the outside of your foot is accessible. What feels good to your body right now? So making sure that you can reach without scrunching up your shoulders and your neck. The generous bend to your knees. Maybe rocking your baby from side to side. Or bending one knee in as you extend the other. Or perhaps your baby wants some stillness here. Slowly giving your body what it's asking for here. And take permission to feel all the feels through our practice. So if this doesn't feel good, permission to take a position that's feeling better in your body. Maybe that's just bringing your feet together in cobblers. Or maybe rotating your knees and giving your back a little massage. Lots of choices. What serves you best today? So wherever you are, taking your knees in for one last gentle push in, hugging knees to chest. As we roll over to one side or the other, resting in fetal position just for a moment as we push ourselves up onto all fours. So sitting up for our tabletop, making sure that our fingers are generously spread on our mat. Our shoulders are stacked on top of elbows, on top of wrists, great alignment. And just gently pushing the windows of our elbows out towards the front of our mat. Toes can be flat on the mat or tucked under. We're going to travel through some cat-cow. So letting our belly sag, lifting our gaze to cow. And I had a request to encourage sounds for these. Curling up like a scowly Halloween cat, meow. Adding any movement that might feel authentic to you. Feeling weird saying moo here, but whatever's feeling good in your body. I always feel like I can do the scary Halloween cat with a little meow. We don't have to be serious, we can have some fun on our mats. So cycling through one more wherever you are, before coming to a neutral spine. Taking your left foot behind you, extending our right hand out. Having some balancing postures here as we stay in our table. So 3 points of contact here. If you feel you want to test your balance a little bit, you can lift your left foot up off the ground like you're standing on that wall behind you. Making sure that your shoulder, your arm is feeling connected to your shoulder. Remember your breath here. Letting your right hand come down, left knee joins right. Second side. Extending your right leg behind you this time. Taking our left hand forward. Making sure that that arm feels connected into your shoulder without sinking into that right hand or shoulder. If you want to challenge your balance, taking that right foot like you're standing on the wall behind it, balancing table. Taking left hand down, right knee meets left, and you can just shake your hips from right to left. You'll notice my breath, I've transitioned to breathing in through my nose and out through my nose with that slight constriction in your back of your throat. So knowing that you can return to breathing in through your nose and exhaling with that audible sigh if at any time there's something you want to clear in your practice. One more balancing posture before we move on. Taking our left leg behind us this time, right leg comes out in front. Bringing our left foot up if your balance is there. Just adding a little bit of core work here. It's not a core class, but taking our left knee to right elbow, curling in, extending back out. One more time, curling in, extending back out. One more time, curling in, extending back out, letting it all go back to center. Good job. Let's do second side. Taking our right leg behind us this time, left hand comes out. Without sinking into that right arm once again, can you lift your right foot up like you're standing on that wall behind you? So you know where we're going now. We're going to crunch in to the center, right knee, left elbow, as close as it comes, maybe one day. One more time. One more. Breathing all that air out. Coming back to center before you're sitting back down. Just snuck that one in. If your toes aren't tucked yet, can you turn your toes under and lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog? So taking this dog for a walk, pedaling out our feet, maybe rotating our hips from side to side, knowing that our ankles may never touch the floor, and that's okay. Our goal is to pour our heart through the window of our arms, lining biceps up to ears. So generous bend to your knees if you're feeling any tightness there. And it will come slow and steady. You can alternate extending one leg to one foot to the floor, generous bend to the other, and then switching. Beautiful. Coming back to stillness now as we bend our knees generously and look to the top of our mat and travel there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise and shine all the way up, taking hands to heart center. So just in a minute in our Tadasana, our mountain pose, setting up, just good foundation. I'll face forward just so that you can see me. Like we're sitting our feet up in our tabletop, just taking our feet about hip distance apart, lifting our feet off the floor, and then just taking one toe at a time, reconnecting to the mat. Feeling that strength just as we started in the class, our mat is supporting us. Feel that strength as you connect to your mat, to earth. It's very grounding. If we ever warm up, maybe you feel comfortable taking your shoes off and walking outside barefoot in the grass. It's a very grounding practice. Taking one inhale together, exhale, sigh, let everything go. Just moving to the back to the top of my mat, inhaling all the way up. Exhaling, bring all that energy into your heart. One more time, inhaling, rise up all the way up as we sit back in our chair. Stephen Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B to warm up today. Exhale, let it all go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. through your chaturanga. So high or low plank, always an option to lower your knees. Let's take our hands out to the edges of our mat on tented fingers as we lift our chest up for our first baby back bend before coming back to the mat. Placing hands under shoulders as we push up through downward facing dog. Always an option to travel through table on your way there. Take your right leg up behind you. Step or help your right leg through. Taking our left foot up a few feet of the mat on a 45 as we breathe up into Warrior One. Taking our hands to the mat, stepping back, flowing it all out, chaturanga. Maybe your back bend's a little bit higher this time. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take your left leg up behind you, stepping your left foot to the top of the mat as you take your right foot up on a 45 degree, rising up into Warrior One. Planting your hands, step back, chaturanga. So Sun Salutation B is a little bit quicker than our Sun A series, but knowing that this isn't serving you, always staying back to child's pose. Bending your knees, looking to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sit back into chair. Exhale. Let it all down. Inhale to stand. Alrighty. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Alrighty. So we're all warmed up now. And we'll go on to our standing series. Inhaling, rise and shine all the way up as we bow over soft knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Take your right leg up behind you. You thought I was going to chaturanga again. Little rest here. Taking your right leg up behind you, can you step your right leg to the top of your mat? So it's setting up for crescent lunge here, knowing that we can always step up our practice. So we can start in low lunge. Absolutely the same practice. We're feeling that stretch in our back leg. Our knee is bent with the ability to still see your toes on your right foot. Taking your hands to heart center, hips are facing forward, hands can come up, and perhaps your gaze follows it. If it's in your practice and you want to come up to high crescent lunge, take permission to go there, making sure you're high on your back toes. And the same thing, starting, building, hips forward, hand variation. You can even put cactus arms if you wanted to open up your chest. Lots of choices. What's serving you today? Pivoting on our back foot, so we have a heel to toe alignment with our stance as we fall into Warrior Two. So bending generously into that front knee as you feel that strength in your, it's like a scissoring action of your legs to keep you upright. Feeling lifting out of your core, and your arms are like wings. Your gaze is over your right middle finger. Flipping our right hand, reach it up and back, exalt your warrior. Coming back to center. One more time, just because I think that's pretty. Flipping your hand and reaching up and back, exalt your warrior. Coming back to center, straightening out our right leg without locking out our knee. We're gonna reach, reach, reach as far as we can before hinging at our waist and reaching for whatever's accessible, be that your calf or your ankle, or maybe you have a yoga block at home. Always a good way to add extension to your arms to your practice. Always be set up for triangle pose, making sure we're not locking out that knee. Can you take your hand and your gaze up, feeling that expansiveness in your chest as you open up. Are you still breathing? Can you hear your breath? Just a reminder, at any time, if your breath is feeling compromised, don't go into the deeper pose. Come out of it. Don't outmuscle yourself in yoga. Go to what's feeling good in your body. And if you're not breathing, that's not what we want to see. Don't compromise your breath, because that's really why we're here. Beautiful. Pivoting on our back toes, taking left hand to meet right, stepping back with our right foot. Option to flow here, or option to stay in downward facing dog or child's pose. So your chaturanga, high or low plank. Perhaps you're feeling a little bit more warmed up and you can go up to upward dog if that's in your practice. And meeting in downward facing dog for 5 breaths. Perhaps you want to sigh your breath out at some point, knowing that as we let that go, that ha or that sigh, we're letting things go and it's a fresh start. Maybe taking this moment to think again about inspiration and what inspires you. Alrighty, second side. Take your left leg up behind you, stepping your left leg to the top of your mat or helping it. Just showing the options to start. We can be in low lunge, heading up our yoga mat if we have anything going on in our knees. Making sure our hips are facing forward. Arm expression, your choice. Hands to heart center, cactus arms. Remaining breathing, arms up and overhead. I'm going to come up to a high crescent lunge. And back to our breath. Pivoting on our back toes as we open up with a heel toe alignment into our warrior 2 on second side. Can you feel that strength in your legs as they support you? Can you still see the toes of your left foot? Can you soften anywhere? Have your shoulders creeped up like earrings? Can you lower them back down? Feel that expansiveness in your chest and your shoulders. Flipping your left palm, reach it up and back, exalt your warrior. Keeping that bend to the left knee. Coming back to center. One more time, flipping that hand, reach it up and back, exalt your warrior. Big breath into the left side of your body. This is always when the room goes quiet, so focusing on your breath. Coming back to center. We're going to straighten out left knee without locking out that knee. We're going to reach, 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 reach forward before hinging at the hips, reaching whatever is acceptable to lower leg, perhaps your ankle, as we take right hand up, opening right chest. Again, mindful that you can take hand to hip if that's impacting your breath. Beautiful, guys. Taking our hands down to the mat, stepping left foot back to our second to last vinyasa, higher low plank. Downward facing dog. Beautiful, guys. One more standing series before we get down to our mats. Take your right leg up behind you. Step your right leg to the top of your mat. Take your left hand to the mat. Keeping right hand on knee. Maybe twisting up and open to the right side of the room. Beautiful. Taking right hand back to the mat. Setting up for pyramid pose. So kind of like that warrior 3, but we're going to step our left foot a little bit closer up on the mat. So it's about 2 or 3 feet from your ankle. And your foot is on a 45. We're going to take ourselves up to hands on hip. So making sure that we're dragging our hips back so that we've got our headlights or our hips facing to the right. And if you feel like you're tipping over, just like with Warrior 1, when I cue that, just take your foot out a little bit further if you're feeling like this is compromising your balance. So without locking over your knees, taking inhale as you hinge at your hips and pour over your right standing leg. And your hands could come down to the floor, or if you have a block, or just your ankles or your shin. And gently drawing yourself as your nose tries to come down to your right knee. Beautiful, guys. Taking right and left hands down to the mat. We're going to step our left foot in, meeting right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise and shine all the way up as we swan down over our soft knees. Inhaling, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, our second to last vinyasa. So chaturanga all the way down. Your expression. If upward dog's in your practice, perhaps your knees come up off the floor. And we meet in downward facing dog. 3 breaths here to reset. Inhaling together. Exhale, sigh, let it all go. Take your left leg up behind you. Step or help your left leg to the top of your mat. So planting your right hand down, this time underneath your right shoulder, twisting up and open to our left side of the mat. Lunge twist. Beautiful. Taking left hand to meet right. This time taking our right foot a few feet up our mats with that right foot on the 45. Coming up to stand, to set up for pyramid pose, second side. So making sure our hips are facing forward. Inhaling before we pour over our soft left knee. Hinging and bringing our hands to the mat or whatever is accessible. Bringing our left knee or left nose to our knee. I know this is a love-hate relationship with this pose, just like chair is for some people. But can you find your edge? And maybe if your mind's coming in there, can you come back to your breath? As long as it's no pain. And hold it for 2 more breaths. This is this mindfulness that we're talking about. Can you come back to your breath? Were there things in your mind busying yourself, saying, I hope she gets out of this pose? Taking your hands down to the mat, dragging right foot to meet left. We're just going to hang here for a moment in ragdoll and generous bend to our knees. Just hanging, letting anything that might be still hanging in your neck and your shoulders, let it just drip off your neck. Dropping your hands, inhaling, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold, and rinse it out through your last chaturanga. We'll meet in child's pose. So coming into your child's pose, into that resting position. Stretching your arms forward, resting your forehead on the mat. Knees can be as wide as your mat, and gently sitting your hips back. Taking a drink of water, towel break, anything that you think will make the last few minutes of our practice the best for you. So maybe coming back to those thoughts that we had at the start of our class, what inspires you? Or maybe examples of inspiration you may have seen over the last 9 weeks. Taking inhale together, exhaling, sigh, let it all go. When you're ready, push yourself up through table, and we're going to come down to our seats. How's everybody doing? Alrighty. So feeling comfortable on your seat, and if you're feeling like you need to just sit into your sit bones a little bit, you can just kind of maneuver things back there. So sitting tall in your seat with your toes flexed, can you breathe your hands up and gently pour over your legs? Again, whatever's accessible to you. I don't want you rounding out your spine, but tilting at your hips and reaching for either your pant legs or your toes. I'm just going to turn back so you can see that it's this one long line without curving in your spine. Perhaps coming out on the inhale, and with your exhale, seeing if there's any more space available to you. Coming out of that, keeping your right leg long on the mat as we take our left foot in, and just squaring yourself up so that you're facing your right foot, so shifting yourself. And again, just letting anything settle there so that you are on your sit bones. So inhaling all the way up again, reaching for whatever's accessible. So that be your ankle or your toes, and maybe taking your left hand across just so that you're guiding your body and draping over that right leg. So are you breathing here? Again, you might want to come out of your posture, and with your exhale, seeing, do I have any room here? Again, not rounding your back out, just what is accessible. Your breath is a wonderful thing, it gives you space. Letting that all go, taking our legs out to the center, just give them a little shake as we transition over to second side. This time, left leg is long, taking our right leg in. And sometimes if you have knee problems, this is, I have quite a lot of issues with my right knee, so you might want to keep that leg straight, or maybe give a little blanket under there, or just don't bring it in as close to your extended leg. So again, making sure that our posture is that we're draping over our left leg as we breathe up. Can we drape our torso over our left leg? So one side completely different than the other. That's okay. No judgment, just awareness. And how does your body fit in this posture? Knowing that you can take that other leg and extend it and still get into this pose. Your practice, your body, what works for you. Coming all the way up one more time, just shaking out our legs as we come down to our mats. So taking our feet as wide as the mat and just offering some windshield wipers from side to side. Just rest setting our spine. And coming into center. Taking our right foot over our left knee, like the number 4, figure 4 stretch. You can stay here, or you can reach through the window of your legs into figure thread the needle. Making sure that both feet are flexed to protect your knees. Breathing into any space that may be heightened sensation here. Letting our left leg come down, right knee uncrosses, and then a few windshield wipers to reset one more time. Before we thread the needle or figure 4 on the second side, right foot is flat, left foot comes over right knee at the ankle. Figure 4 here, or reaching through to thread the needle. Are you still breathing? Letting your right foot come down, left foot meets right. Windshield wipe just a few times to reset before bringing knees into chest and reaching through to your expression of happy baby. Full circle to where we started our practice. So again, your happy baby can reach for your inner legs, or your reach onto your pants or your ankles, or your peace fingers on your toes, inner aspect of your foot, whatever feels right for you. Maybe just rock your baby from side to side or offer it stillness. And just taking a moment to take that scan over your body again and seeing any differences from our first posture of the class. Letting that go, taking knees to chest before transitioning into Shavasana, offering any last little wiggle before you come into your final posture. Feet are extended long on your mat. Hands can be at your sides with your shoulders tucked in. Can be in cactus arm. Opening up your shoulders one last time, or taking left hand to heart, right hand to belly. As you take these last few minutes of class to rest and restore, knowing that I'll be here to guide you when the time is right. Enjoy your rest. Sometimes we can't become so caught up in the daily grind that we forget about how much beauty and inspiration our world offers. We forget about the power of inspiration. What inspires you? Discover inspiration points, those high places that you can see more clearly, see more beautifully. Spend time taking in a grander view of life. See how calming and inspiring that can be. See how you return to life with more enthusiasm and passion. When we're able, visit places that invigorate your soul. Perhaps now we can look at a picture of those places. But for now, find places in your home that you can look at and feel a place of comfort and inspiration, where you're able to see that bigger picture, that connectionness, what inspires you and brings you to life. Know that inspiration points abound. We just need to open up and look around. When you seek inspiration, when you open up that channel, it will come to you. Bringing some awareness back to your body now as you start to wake back up. Wiggling out your hands and your ankles, perhaps opening and closing your eyes. Massaging out the back of your skull by rotating your head from side to side. Before offering yourself one last stretch before you curl up. Maybe staying in fetal position one last time before you push yourself up to a seated position at the top of your mat, where we'll find each other there. So taking hands to heart center, gaze can be lowered or eyes can be closed. Just taking that moment, maybe rubbing your hands together and feeling that heat that's created there. Thinking one more time what inspires you. I can tell you that all of you inspire me. This gathering of ourselves together on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons inspires me. gives me the opportunity to reach out and check on seeing how people are doing, and giving this opportunity for people to come together and to move and breathe and continue this community that we have created to support each other through this time. Know that I appreciate each of you coming, and for those who may join later, thank you for coming. Let us take this energy that we've created and share it on our mats with those that we may encounter in the world, and that we may inspire or be inspired from. Thank you. The love and the light in my heart goes to the love and the light in your heart. Namaste. So hopefully you've had a good class, guys, and I wish you great afternoons. If you're coming back on Thursday, we're going to try something new. We're going to do a yin yang class, which is about 20 minutes of moving, and then the second part is going to be deeper stretches that are going to be held a little bit longer. So if you're coming back on Thursday and you have a yoga belt at home, that's great. If not, even a bathrobe belt, or if you have a partner at home that wears ties, you can use that, or a belt, just something that's not going to slide off your foot. We're just going to do a little bit more deeper leg stretches. So I hope to see you then. Have great days, everybody. Namaste. Bye.